make sure you subscribe. Click that little bell icon to be notified of upcoming videos. Support us on Patreon. Like us on Facebook and Instagram at Model Railroad Techniques. Please have a look at my new website, www.modelrailroadtechniques.com.
Hi guys and girls, Darren from MRT here and welcome back. This week we're going to be looking at my version of the Ground Goop, which I call MRT Ground Goop. Very, very original. I believe this is the best modelling medium to sculpt our terrain. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's start with the basic ingredients. Now, you can see in the photo that I've got there, I was able to acquire a bag of cellulose, which is basically paper pulp. Now, that's used in the insulation of houses industry that's pumped around on your roofs and the like. So that bale there would be best part of 10 or 15 kilos and slight grey in colour. So does obviously give a grey hue once it's all mixed through, but being I'm doing European scenery, it doesn't really matter too much and it suits my needs nicely. So you can see that's a handful of I've got in my hand there. Now you will notice that it is quite light and fluffy, however, so it's got to be a little bit careful how much water we add, but I will go through the method of how I mix it through to make sure we don't get too much water in it. So the first thing I'll do, I will mix some of the paper pulp with some plaster of Paris. So that's a 50-50 mix. So in that container is approximately about 16 cups of paper pulp with 16 cups of plaster of Paris. Just give it a good mix around and you're ready to go. There is other ways to get your paper mulch. I'll put a link up in the cards to a wargaming website, Luke's APS, where he uses toilet paper and he basically mulches it up to get his paper mulch. So how I mix it up, so what I actually do is that's a 4 litre ice cream container. So I'll just use a normal 1 cup measurement for metric measurements. So I think I'll put about 4 cups of the mixture into that container. So the ratio with it is actually is a 50-50 mix. So at this point I'll go 4 of the paper and then 4 of water, and just give that a mix and just see what the consistency we get it at. So basically the consistency we want is pretty well a cottage cheese sort of look, which can be a little bit on the damp side, but we can actually wring it out, and I'll show you that in an upcoming portion of the video. Okay, so at that point you just obviously mix it through thoroughly. I'm not going to tell you how to suck eggs, but the reason I do it outside, you can see that pulp, some little fibres and all that flying around, and that's a bit of a clean-up if you do that inside, so I always sort of mix this stuff outside. Now you can sort of see the consistency of it there. This batch, I think I've put just a little bit too much water in it, so that other granular stuff in there is actually vermiculite or something similar. Plants. Now I put normally a handful of that through. Now I put this up on Facebook a little while back and there was a little bit of conjecture regarding the use of this product, that it possibly is asbestos based. So I've done a little bit of research on this particular brand and it's got no mention of that. So as all things with model railroading, we come across some pretty ordinary chemicals and other types of products out there that are quite harmful to your health. So make sure you do the research on the products that you're using and use the appropriate PPE. So the next logical question is probably, can you store this stuff? Now there is some commentary around that people put different things in it like paint and glue and all sorts and other items to stop it going mouldy in some sort of sealed container. I don't actually mix it up like that. I have mixed it up in larger batches but without the water in it, so I'll just put that in like a rather large Systema container like you can see on the footage there. So that just means I just got to take it out, add some water. So this is the scene I'm going to add it to, this hard to reach area. So what I'm adding there is just some Woodland Scenics rock moulds that I've made up with plaster of Paris. Now I predominantly use the ground goop to mesh in around the rocks, as you can see I'm doing there. So it's a very similar colour to the rocks I'm using. Now obviously that's not what the final colour is going to be, but it's just a matter of working your way around, smoothing it out. So you sort of just let it, at that point there, just leave it. So what actually happens after that, it does start going off a little bit, and then it's a lot easier just to smooth out with your finger. Looking back on this footage, what I'm looking at now, you probably could have argued that I probably should have stuck all these rocks in to start with, but what I have got is I have got some a bead of white glue on the back of those, and that scenery's at probably a 45-degree angle, I think, from that track on the top of the screen there. Okay, so I won't bore you with filling the rest of that area in, but just a matter of methodically working your way across and just working it in. So as I said before, probably about 20-30 minutes, depending on the time of the year, you can really start smoothing this stuff out, and it just makes it's where this product comes into its own. Okay, that's just me panning along the area there. As you can see, the granules, probably looking back at that, I think might be a little bit large for that area, but however, you could probably use kitty litter or something similar. But you can see how it sort of fills in the area very, very quickly and just adds a little bit of texture. Still needs a lot of cleaning up, and that footage is prior to me smoothing it out around those rocks. So I think it comes up quite nicely. Okay, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Make sure you subscribe. Click that little bell icon to be notified of upcoming videos. Support us on Patreon. Like us on Facebook and Instagram at Model Railroad Techniques. Please have a look at my new website, www.modelrailroadtechniques.com.